All right, so to pick up from last week, we basically were just finishing the rifle, putting the several layers of stain on, applying the oil finish, coat after coat. I gave each layer about a day to cure before rubbing it off, and after the fifth layer, which is the one you see me rubbing off now, I was satisfied with, the finish, how it looked, and I felt like it was gonna have, the proper protection it needed. And yeah, so I went down to a finer grain of steel wool. Our textbook in the class recommends double aught, but I went down to I think it's either triple or super fine. I can't remember, but it's like a step up from double aught steel wool. Right here in the video, you see me rubbing off the fifth layer of true oil finish, and I believe this is on day 4 or 5. I think it's the 5th day. So this was like Thursday. So I've been working on this stock for almost a week now. I mentioned in the last video that I was gonna do a wax finish on top of the oil finish just to really seal the wood and give it that wax protective coating. And it's supposed to repel any like moisture or any water that gets on it and really just give it like its ultimate sheen without making it look like plastic. Now, when choosing the wax that I was gonna use for it, I did some research. Now, I got the idea from a gunsmith that, our school at SDI, they send us videos of this gunsmith. I trust this dude. He was using like just a regular white, I think it was an unscented candle to, put the wax coating on his stock that he was doing. And I tried to do some research and I couldn't really find anything solid on what to use and what not to use. So I figured, if I'm gonna go get some wax to put on this rifle to, really top it off, I'm gonna get something that smells good. So I found like a good, I can't remember what the scent is called, but it's like a fir and cedar scent. So it's super natural smelling. It doesn't smell like a perfume or anything. And I just started rubbing it on, and it was weird at first because when I rubbed it on, I felt like I was ruining the stock. It just didn't look right at first. You're just smudging this wax all over this stock. But as soon as I took the cotton cloth to the stock and started rubbing it in, the stock really started to accept that wax really good and it started to look honestly gorgeous. So here I am just rubbing this wax in with this cloth, and this stock is just coming out looking crazy good. And it was like getting its shine back from when I rubbed off the last oil finish, the last oil coat. And even with the shine, like I was afraid to touch it with my fingers, like no gloves or anything because I was worried about fingerprints, but no fingerprints, and it was just really sealing the stock off. And even in the video, the guy, the gunsmith, he said that, putting this wax on your stock is going to seal it off and keep moisture out and pretty much repel moisture. And it's really like the cherry on top when it comes to the stock finish. So I was really impressed with how this came out. But now it's time to move on. We're going to go work on the crown a little bit. It's going to be a shorter video. There's not much to it, so let's get to it. All we're doing today is really just lapping the crown of the muzzle. So out of the box, we see if we can get it to focus. It's not cooperating, but so these edges right here, try to get it to focus. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so dang, this thing is stubborn. So we're going to smooth out these corners here. Now there are other procedures you can do that will take the whole face of the crown and put like an inward angle towards the bore of the barrel. But today we're just going to be smoothing out those corners. So the way we're going to be doing that is a really bad example. I actually misplaced the brass lap that we're supposed to. Oh no, I didn't. It's right here. We're going to be using this guy right here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this messy stuff. You've probably seen this in some previous videos, specifically the scope ring lapping video. I think it was 220 actually. It might have been the exact same stuff. But basically, we're gonna put some of this on here or dip this guy in here, pretty much apply it here somehow. And then we're gonna take this guy on a drill bit or chuck it into a drill and just stick it in there. And it's gonna basically kind of sand down those edges. I mean, that's what lapping really is. It's like kind of like sanding, but different method. But I don't want to talk your ears off, so I'm just gonna jump into it, make this a quick video, and then I kind of dabbled into next week's project. That's going to be a pretty fun, invasive video invasive for the gun, obviously. So, but yeah, let's get to it. All right, so I don't own a lathe, but I've watched a lot of videos of gunsmiths using lathes. And those things don't go, I mean, I'm sure they could go super fast, but from what I've seen, they don't use them on a super high speed setting. I mean, they're not using them like this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this down to the lowest possible setting. And now we're just gonna take some of this lapping compound, and I'm just gonna use a flathead screwdriver to, you know, scoop it out and put it on there. Now this stuff is a lot thicker than what I'm used to. Usually it's not like this clay, more of a runny, a little bit more oily type lap. I'm gonna put a lot. I know this is probably excessive for you know, people who are experienced in this art. I just wanna make sure it's getting a good lap done. Kind of reminds me of the anti-seize that we use on jet engines. At work we use what's called graphite anti-seize. And we're really just gonna be taking these edges here, because right now the rifling is super exposed and that's gonna get damaged super easily. So we're gonna smooth that out. I might make another video where I actually go out and buy, what's it called? A recrowning tool, to where I can put a bevel on the face of this crown. But for now, we're just gonna do those inside corners. I think this should be the one. Let's see. I made the mistake of not doing like a close-up video of what it looked like before, but I'll do my best to point out what we did. Barrels like these are kind of tricky because the breech end is sealed off, so there's just one way in, one way out. So I really got to just get in there and clean it the best I can. So it's kind of difficult to show on camera. But basically on the crown, you see where this isn't even sharp enough to point out. You have the rifling inside here and it comes out and it corners out on the crown. Now before, these edges were like a sharp 90-degree angle, and really we just smoothed them out. So now instead of it, you know, you have the face of the crown going and then sharp 90-degree straight down the rifling, now it's more of a curve. And that's basically what we were trying to do. Not only were we trying to smooth that out, but we're also trying to make it uniform. Now on each segment of the crown where the rifling meets the crown, it wasn't perfectly symmetrical before, and now we just lapped it and made it nice and even perfectly. And there's more you could do. Earlier I mentioned doing that beveled edge, usually I think it's an 11-degree angled bevel that you can do, where the crown is actually recessed in, so it's kind of like a concave going in towards the bore, and that's just going to protect your crown, pretty much protect the work that we just did. That's really all I've got for you this week. A little smaller of assignment, one, you know, less steps, whatnot. Next week we're gonna be doing another bigger project. So we're gonna be taking the barrel, and I mentioned in the first video that, you know, we got some tarnish going on here, and that's gotta be taken care of. We're actually going to be browning the barrel, which in a sense, I mean, it kind of browned itself in a few spots. But essentially, browning is kind of like bluing. You're intentionally oxidizing the barrel to be a certain color. That's got a lot of steps to it. I kind of already dabbled into the steps for that class, or I'm sorry, for that assignment. It's going to be a wild one. But without further ado, that's going to conclude today's video. So stay strapped, stay safe, and don't trust anything you see on social media.